Essex County Council's proposal back in 2019 to reduce its library service provoked a grassroots countrywide movement to oppose them. Splitting the county's 74 libraries into 4 tiers, each facing a higher threat of closure, sparked a series of street protests. Save Our Libraries in Essex, or SOUL, was set up to try to coordinate their efforts. SOUL enlisted valuable publicity thanks to celebrity support from writers and performers who rallied to the Hands Off Our Libraries clarion call. There were protests in large and small towns across the county, one of the largest being at Chelmsford, and schools took part, particularly vocal outside Gallywood Library.
Gallywood Library! Save Gallywood Library! Save Gallywood Library!
The protests now appear to have forced the County Council to back down. Their bid to launch what SOUL called charity shop libraries, manned by retired volunteers, ran aground when support from the local community petered out. Here, SOUL campaigner Andy Abbott brings CRHnews up to date with his impromptu press call outside Broomfield Library.
Andy, I believe you might have some good news?
Well, we are cautiously optimistic. And that's going by previous strategies which didn't exactly raise the bar too high, but the current strategy does seem to be some sort of step forward. In particular, when you think only last year, Councillor Sue Barker, who was the previous portfolio holder responsible for libraries, was boasting that Essex was going to set up the largest network of so-called community libraries anywhere in the country. So what this actually meant was charity shop libraries. It meant the plan was to sell off library buildings like this behind us, get rid of the staff from it, and perhaps say move a shelf into the Angel pub just over there and have a shelf of books in the Angel pub. That was seriously suggested by one councillor that libraries could be moved into pubs. Now, in the new strategy, what we are pleased to see is there is no talk of community libraries whatsoever. We hope that the idea, this closure plan by stealth, has been quietly shelved.
Right, so how have you heard of this news? What is your authority?
Well, it's, Essex County Council published its new strategy, as I said, this Friday last. And while there are still many issues with it and things that we would be concerned about, I mean, for instance, it doesn't just specifically rule out charity shop libraries, and we are urging Councillor McKinley to assure everybody in Essex that these plans have been dropped. They do not actually specifically rule it out. Then there are a few other issues. The 500,000 books that have been lost or that have been cut by Essex County Council over the last decade, we don't see much in terms of trying to replace that. We see a lot of talk as if people are moving into a new age where people no longer use books. This is simply not true. People are still love to read books. They still love the feel of a book, the smell of a book. Another thing that they're talking about of great concern in the new strategy is something called co-location. Now what that means is that they want other organisations and other services to be sharing Essex library space. Now once you do that, once you're giving out your space in your library to other organisations and other services, that's a lot less room for stock. That's a lot less room for library space. Furthermore, it might be that the organisation or the service that is being moved in simply isn't appropriate for a library space. For instance, I understand it when a post office moved into Brittygate Library in Colchester, it did cause a number of issues. You know, if you're trying to sit there and study for your homework, you're having somebody coming in every 2 minutes, buying stamps and doing all the other things that a post office in towns, it's likely to disturb the general ambience of a library. So these are the issues we've got. There are quite a lot there are many fine words in the current consultation, but it doesn't seem particularly detailed plans about how they will achieve these aims. Ultimately, this is a draft strategy. The finished strategy will come out in the spring, In the meantime, we urge everybody out there to go onto line, to read the draft strategy, to complete the survey, and ultimately, as I say, it'll all come next spring when the final strategy is published, and undoubtedly the devil will be in the detail. Our message to Essex County Council is quite clear. As I said earlier, we are pleased to see that all talk of so-called community libraries, or as they are more appropriately should be called, charity shop libraries, has been entirely removed from the new strategy. They're no longer talking about it. What we would like them to actually do is to confirm to the people of Essex, to assure the people of Essex that this particular closure plan by stealth has been quietly shelved.